So video 8 is going to take a line and it's going to move it. That's all it's going to do, because in order to do it, I need to go slowly through the code. This code is almost identical to the previous code. We had 2 points, but this time I'm storing a connection to the creation of a line. And then I'm asking it to draw using that. Whereas previously I put the draw directly on here. Now, why am I doing this using this variable? It's because it allows me to manipulate the line and not lose hold of it. This hook onto that line, particular line, is now L1. L2, second line, is hooked now onto that line, and I can draw it with all the new points, and L3 is hooked to to that line there. Now if I want to move one of these lines, let's take line 2. Let's move it. L2, we do move. Same as we did before, we've got to specify how much a horizontal it wants to go and how much vertical. So let's say horizontally we want to just shift it by 23, but we don't want it to go up or down. Okay? Save. Let's run it. Look, it's moved that line there across by that distance here, 23. So it's moving it towards a T shape, in fact. So actually moving is this the same as a point. Another nice feature is that with L1, let's change its color, set outline, let's make the first one red, let's make the second line L2, set the outlines, make it, I don't know, blue. Look up all the different options you have. Let's make the third one running out of space, L3 dot set outline. Let's make it, what other colors do we have? Magenta, whatever that would look like on this screen. Let's run it. Let's have a look. Let's get rid of the move. Where's the move? Where's the move? There it is there. So let's comment it out, so we don't want it moving. Just keep our hangman thing and have a look. There you go. So you can color each line that you do, nice and simply. What the power of this is all about is understanding points. That's why I spent so long with a point. All of the shapes you get are built from points. And you've got to understand how they're built. So a line is built from 2 points. First point, starting point, and a second point. And that's really all you need to worry about when it comes to lines. Now, you have things called rectangles. Rectangles are quite clever. They look like you could create a square or a rectangle by 4 lines. You'd agree with that? Should we just quickly do it? Right. So let's just close that down. So we need 4 lines. We've got 1, 2, 3. So we need 1 more. Let's do that. Let's add a 4th line. L4. And the question is, where is it going to go? Well, that's the crucial element, isn't it? It's going to link these points up somehow, isn't it? But actually, if I just type it there, it's not going to be clear. Let's drag these points up all together. Gather all the points up and show you how one way you can draw your own rectangle before we finish just using lines. Okay, so I've got 5 points. When I draw a rectangle, actually I only need 4 points. And they each have to be 1 corner of a rectangle. So there's the top left. Okay, that's a bit too low, so we need to make that the smaller value, so that's the top left, right? So we call point 1. What I'll do is, I'll call it TL, short for top left, or no, we'll write it out, top left. Now I'm going to write out the names, and I'm on 4 minutes, so let's see if I can do this. The next one will be top right. So where will top right be? What point would that be? If I give you 10 going horizontally and 100 coming down, well, it's not going to go up or down, so that will say the same, but that number there horizontally will be bigger, right? So now I've got 2 points. So now I want bottom left, so that's sitting underneath top left. So if it's sitting underneath, it's got to have further down, but the same distance from in the horizontal, right? So what's it sitting down? So it's going to be 10, not 300. Well, actually it's got to go right down, hasn't it, to say somewhere like 300. And then finally we do bottom right, and that point is going to be the two biggest numbers. It's going to be the furthest across, 500. It's going to be the biggest number there, 300. Now, if that isn't clear, what I recommend you do is you go and draw this on a piece of paper and have a look at it. Okay, so the first line goes between top left. You'll notice that using this type of top left and top right. Okay, so it's the line across the top. A second line needs to join up. So let's get rid of the rest of this. And let's not worry about the colour in this particular thing, right? And the second line, let's do L2, right, is a line, but it's going to join up another pair of these points. It's going to start with, let's start with top left again, and let's go to bottom left. Right? At this moment, I haven't run the code, so I don't know if I've got any of this right. Then let's draw it. So it's L2 draw using a window. Okay. Then we've got one going across, one going down. We need to have one going across the bottom, so joining up the two bottoms. Right. So L3 is, and again, just get used to copying and pasting and just changing your numbers to accelerate your. One starts at bottom left and goes to bottom right. Now, the actual rectangle object, incidentally, is a lot simpler because it's very clever how it works, but we'll come to that in a minute. But I just want to do it ourselves first, so you can get an idea. Now, notice I've done L2. I actually wanted to do L3. Pay attention to the numbers of your lines so you don't use the same line and overwrite it. So the fourth line is, so we've got top left, top right, top left, bottom left. We've got bottom left to bottom right. We need top right down to bottom right. Now as I say, there we go, that's there, and draw it. Now that's pretty guesswork at the moment, so let's just run it and see what it does. Oh, almost. It's a bit too wide, so let's just narrow it down a bit. Let's narrow it down, shift it over a bit. Let's make it slightly, starts shifted over a bit. Let's make it 400 here and 400. Right, just alter the numbers. Now I can do this quickly. What I would recommend you do is take your time. There you go, there's a rectangle made from 4 lines. Now we will come to the rectangle object, which actually uses 2 points, and it uses something called a rectangle object, and we'll come to that. A triangle uses a polygon, which we'll come to in a minute as well. And a circle uses a center position and a radius that it then uses a nice calculation. But look, from 4 lines I've drawn a square, a rectangle, not a square. I'm going to stop now and I'm going to say to you, draw different rectangles, get used to the coordinate system, be confident with it. Now what you can't do with this is you can't fill this rectangle with a colour because it's actually just made of 4 lines. The rectangle object itself will cleverly allow you to fill it up. So that's quite useful, and so when we come to it you will see how it works. So please stop the video, play with different values, different size rectangles. Can you draw a square, for example, on the screen? What would that look like? What would the measurements be like? Build all that stuff up.